are in studio here at SiriusXM Canada Talks 167, and we are joined by Mandy Goodhandy, Canada's first transgender woman stand-up entertainer. And you're a comedian mainly, aren't you?
Yes, I stand-up comedy, yeah, mostly.
And you have your own place in Toronto, a club and a restaurant now.
That is correct. The 120 Diner is our restaurant. It's on the main floor, and upstairs we have a nightclub. And we have live comedy shows, of course, and we have live music, live jazz, almost every night.
So, where's that located in Toronto for anyone that's listening in the area? Cause
it's 120 Church Street,
nice.
Down by Richmond and Church, beside McVeigh's.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a fun place to go.
It's great. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And you have the open mic stand-up comedy show is held upstairs Wednesday nights from 10 till 1.
Yes, my open mic is upstairs. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like I'm going to come visit.
I'm going to come visit. Come by for a laugh. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the whole idea of your place, as I understand it, was to have a safe environment for transgender people and their supporters, their friends and families. How's that working?
It's great. That's how it started out, and it's actually going on 10 years that we have probably the very first party that is designed for trans women or men to come and feel safe and socialize and network with each other, because there isn't a lot of places we can go and do that and meet people that are also trans.
Now, how has it changed though in the 10 years since you opened?
It hasn't changed that much,
Really?
except there's more of us. Yeah, we seem to be multiplying, and which is good. There's a lot of young people realizing that that there's such a thing as feeling you were born the wrong gender. Before it was just, oh, I must be gay or I must be lesbian because this is how I feel. And now it's at the point where they're more, obviously when something comes along that's new to people, it's education, which people will go, wow, that exists. This is how I feel. So now I know why I feel the way I feel. And so there's a lot more trans people that are starting to realize they're trans at a younger age, which is good, and then they're a little more stable because of that, because it's mentally torturing when you're trying to live as a gender you're not comfortable with, and you have to try and fit in to what society feels male and female should be.
Like, I feel like in a societal sense, there's far more acceptance, far more understanding than maybe there had been in the past. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I think it's getting there. There's a lot more work to be done, obviously, because some people still don't understand what it is. And but I think people are coming a long way. They certainly have with gay and lesbian. That's so mainstream now. But if we think back, it wasn't that long ago where it was considered freaky and that there was something mentally wrong with people who were gay and lesbian. But now it's becoming something mainstream, which is what I would love to get to the point where trans are like that, where people realize, yeah, we're like everybody else.
Yeah. Okay, but the government does not seem to think that you are like everybody else. And you have become groundbreaking as the first trans person to refuse to participate in the Canadian census because you don't think you should have to participate in any survey, government-run or otherwise, that does not include or recognize trans people. So that's quite a stand to take. What upset you about the census?
It started in 2001 when I saw the census, and everyone else just decided, well, oh, male or female, choose one. And I just got, I don't know what set me off, really. I looked at it and I went, okay, enough. I'm tired of this. I'm trans. I know why I feel trans, and there's other trans out there. There's no way it's just me in the world. And the government has to be the first to recognize that in order to humanize us. They have to admit that we exist. They have to acknowledge us, because otherwise we will always be picked on, pointed at, laughed at, and made look like fools like gays and lesbians used to, until people understood that it was something that was happening and it was a reason why people feel the way they feel. And so I thought, if the government's not going to acknowledge us and say, hey, we understand you're trans and we know, we understand it, and we should really add you to our census and count you. Find out where are you located. How many are there out there that are feeling this way? Let's give you a box or a couple of boxes so you feel comfortable and human.
Now, the government's response, this is, I looked up the frequently answered questions. The government says, for the 2016 census, there's no question on sexual orientation, and they also decided to go with the term sex rather than gender because people found it, they understood it better, actually, is what the government said. And they say that these questions are currently asked in the General Social Survey and the Canadian Community Health Survey. Because they think that voluntary surveys are the most appropriate collection method, providing the context and relevance that is needed with this question. How do you feel about their answer?
Well, I'm so happy for them that they think they have it all figured out. Maybe they can teach me something. I don't know. It's I think what they do is they come up with answers feeling they can just iron things over, and they don't want to have to go through, and I understand to a certain degree, they don't have to go through this whole process now where almost every form that's ever done that asks about gender has to be changed or edited. And that is kind of understandable, but online it's not. It's very simple online for any sort of an online situation. Add something. But they're always giving answers. They feel people are just going to kind of go, oh, okay then, that's what it is. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. It doesn't make us feel like we're welcome. It doesn't make us feel like we belong. It gets us bullied. It gets us killed. It gets us feeling uncomfortable every single day of our lives, where it becomes, especially for younger people. For me, I don't give a crap anymore. I live the way I want. But I'm comfortable because I own my own business. I don't have to work for people. I don't have to go around and struggle for an employment. Even though people will say, oh, well, it doesn't matter if you're trans. We'll hire you if you're good for the job. No, I'm sorry. It totally matters. It totally matters in some cases still if you're a woman or if you're gay or if you're a lesbian. And I don't care what anybody says. That is what happens out there, and it's still happening. So you can imagine what it's like for trans people to get a job. And so like I said, I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones to have my own business and work for myself. And I'm also lucky that I'm older and I've gone through a lot of my life already. And I'm at that point, and sometimes I think you may relate, I don't know. You get to a certain age where it's almost like you wake up and go, I don't care anymore. I don't.
I'm looking forward to becoming the crazy old lady riding around with a bicycle with a hat. I don't care.
Good for you.
It's very freeing, isn't it?
It is. It's like let it all hang out. It's like, okay, it's like I'm having fun. I'm older and I've lived it and I'm more experienced. And so I feel sorry for the younger trans people is what I'm saying, because for them, this is why I'm so vocal about it. It's for the younger people who are coming up, need to feel that they're accepted, and especially by our government, that they have rights, they can be comfortable, they are not supposed to be bullied, they don't have to accept being bullied. People cannot turn around and see something they don't understand or someone that looks like something they don't understand and figure, we'll beat it up or kill it. And that, unfortunately, is what is still going on with the majority of people out there that do not have open minds.
And that's what she said. And she's Mandy Goodhandy. She's our guest this morning on Canada Talk, Sirius XM 167. Has there been any word government-wise about this form changing for the next go-round? Or are they simply oversimplifying things to the point that they're saying, well, if you identify as female, check female, and if you identify as male, check male? Is it an oversimplification on their part or a complete disregard?
I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think they're really outright trying to disregard it. I think they're doing their best to appease. And now I get that, and I appreciate that they're trying to. They're just not understanding the point. The point is some people don't even identify as any gender.
True.
And that's their option. Some people don't want to be called I'm not female. I'm not male. I'm trans woman. That's how I identify. So to ask them to put something like trans on a form, that would settle a lot of the problems. People who feel they're trans can fill that out, know that they're recognized. And people in the mainstream can see that that exists and go, oh, what's this? And then when people are aware that something exists, then education can begin. And that is where my thing is. It's like, let's educate people. Who are we? Why do we feel the way we do? We don't get enough of that. And I was on one interview at one point, and I won't say which one, but I was, at that point, the statement that came out of the person interviewing me was, well, we know you exist. I mean, Caitlyn Jenner came out. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, okay, I know that's coming from a good place, that we do exist, yes. But just because a celebrity came out as a trans woman does not mean all of a sudden everyone knows we exist. Mm-hmm. And then you get a little group of trans women traveling around the country on a bus, then everybody goes, oh, look, there's trans people out there. You know, it's not enough. It doesn't really educate people on who we are, and that also comes down to the school. When do we start learning? When do we start teaching our children? And the amazing thing is, children are so resilient. There has not ever been, my nephews and nieces, and now I have great nephews and nieces, there has never been a problem. They ask a question, they're answered, and they run off with their life. Yeah. It was no big deal.
We are going to take a break here. We're going to come back and talk to transgender entertainer and activist Mandy Goodhandy a little bit more on the other side of the break, so don't go away. This is Sirius XM Canada Talks 167.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.